So we'll both have a copy, I guess. We'll see.
Beautiful. Welcome. Welcome in, everybody. This is episode 2 for us, Susan,
I
uh,
know.
but only episode 2 for this series because we're only doing
Yeah.
uh,
We've been chatting in the background at other times.
yeah,
Well, just at other times. And this is episode 2. Are we starting a podcast? I mean,
I don't know.
I was calling it Chastity and Susan's Zoom room. You know,
Yeah,
I thought, why not? Maybe we're
yeah.
starting a podcast.
I
Yeah. So this is
I
episode 2.
I think that we should. I often think we should take like clips or like record little pockets of what we talk about or share. Or we've done some over the phone conversation
Hmm.
that we've recorded. And gosh, maybe we should like just put out little blurbs, like a little section of something we talked
I
about.
know.
Some of
I
those
know. It would be
are,
good.
yeah,
I
there's
know.
good
Them
little
are
nuggets in
really
there.
profound. Yeah, yeah. It's just finding the time, right? We were just talking about being moms and we're trying to juggle with kids and the
Yeah.
unpredictability and the crazy things that go on in our lives. And so we have great ideas, but it's it's a matter of finding the time.
They sit, yeah,
We need to,
they sit
we
for a
need to
while.
hire an editor. Yeah,
Exactly. That would be amazing. Hiring an editor. Uh,
it would. I
oh
know.
my goodness. I don't know what they would do with all of the information. It's loads and loads of things that just never make their way out there. But I set my intentions that it'll just at least go out into the ethers and be grabbable
Around the
for
planet.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The
Should you try?
awarenesses. Yeah. Whoever we resonate for, that
Yeah.
it'll help them with their own process or
Hmm.
whatever we want to call this. I mean, and Sammy has been awake. I was just telling Chastity that, and so I think she's been up all night. Seriously, I mean, uh, and she's awake, and I thought she was going to be asleep at this time,
Hmm.
but she's awake. She's in her bed, uh, and so I'm talking from the kitchen, and her bedroom is right there. But I'm just saying that because uh, she clearly wants to be in this meeting today,
Yes,
and she's
she definitely
what
does.
she wants to share. I don't know yet, but I think she's got something to transmit, and maybe if we just get started and
I think that's
start
great.
talking.
Well, I wonder
Yeah,
if we should answer the question.
yeah, we should do that first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beck sent in a question. And so I want to thank you, Beck, for sending in this question. I think that it's a really good one. And there's probably many different ways people answer this, but I'm going to
Hmm.
ask this. Beck, you're asking, how do you discern between trauma-based sensitivity and soul origin clairsentience in highly sensitive children?
Yeah. Well, there's many layers to this question. I just realized I'm seeing a different layer of it that I didn't quite see before. I mean, speaking for Sammy, my experience with Sammy, um, the the challenging thing is if you're looking at it from behaviors perspective, the behaviors can look the same. Like I can see when she might be hitting herself. She's clearly having an intense moment and experience. And sometimes because there's something intense coming in, the energy is intense. Sometimes he's being attacked, and the behavior looks the same in a sense. Because what I realize is in this human body, this version of the human body, we have like only certain ways that we can respond. It's like a limited number of ways that we can respond based on this human body. Just like when there's something intense going on the planet and people are feeling anxiety and they feel so anxious because the energy is so fast, but it might actually be something that's happening that trying to expand you or open your heart, those kinds of things. And yet we might be experiencing it in the chest just like it's anxiety, you know? And so for me, the only way you have to use your other kind of clairsentience, whatever. And then when I start tuning in, then I can get a sense of what that is. Um, so that's one way of knowing the difference. Your other senses, your intuition, visions, you know, that you might be having will kind of give you other information about whether
Mhm.
what it's based on, you know. So what are your thoughts on that? Or,
I think, just to layer in with what you're saying, checking in with your own intuition. Um, but let's say maybe you don't have any of these clairs, or you have them, but you're maybe not sure how to use them, right? You don't know
mm-hmm,
exactly um, uh, what you're seeing or understanding. I think for parents, one of the things to do and to look at what Beck is asking here, soul origin clairsentience and or trauma-based sensitivity is interesting because if we look at trauma-based sensitivity, I actually think that those can go
mm-hmm.
hand in hand, whether that be soul origin or trauma-based, because
Yeah.
even if we remove the word trauma or soul or it, when our children are they come in closer to source. How close do we
Mm-hmm.
stay to source? And that a lot has depends on the level of sensitivity, whether or not again you're beyond verbal or speaking. And so there's a whole like range of how close, how much more are you in the body versus how much more are you here. So there's different levels
Yeah.
of intensity. But if you don't know or you don't know how to step into your own discernment, it just goes into your innate parenting skills. What kind of, we'll say, trauma did you carry as a child? What did you,
Yeah.
your partner who made the child, what are some of their trauma-based things? And so you can kind of go, okay, well, this information is likely coming through at least mine and my partner's trauma. So there's that layer because they do carry and hold their parents' DNA or genetic
Yeah.
expressions. So there's one
Right.
way of going, okay, well, this could be happening, and then slowly as you heal yourself or are able to step out of that. And I'm talking like for real healing, not just like you tucked something away or you dealt with it, like you actually worked through it. Maybe you had the anxieties as it was like leaving the body or
Mm-hmm.
something like this. um, so kind of going, okay, well, is this a way that I responded, or am I viewing what my child is going through as something that I thought about in my adult life? So just kind of put yourself in the position, whether you were a child or an adult. So that's kind of a way to look at it from like trauma-based sensitivity. But all trauma-based sensitivity then is linked, of course, to the stars, linked in our DNA, which has to go into soul origin. And the families or the DNA expressions that are coming through the body. If you just used the 12 tribes, for instance, or thought about it from that perspective, everybody, whether you are human or non-human, you're in a human body. So
Yeah.
you have to be having a human experience. I don't care if
Yeah.
sliced and diced with something else. You are
Yeah.
experiencing a rehabilitation of whatever line of trauma, star trauma. Doesn't matter what you call it. You're processing it in this moment through a human vessel. So
Yeah.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something to take serious because a lot of people want to disidentify with being human. And it's like, well, you're going to have a little bit of an issue here because you're in a human body, whether you,
Yeah.
whether you walked into it or not. So
Yeah.
what, what,
Yeah.
what soul origin? Well, what if there's no actual origin of the soul. There's only expressions of the spirit, right? And so
Hmm.
there's
Yeah.
several origins of where that comes from. So clairsentience doesn't um uh, uh yeah, I don't know. I think that I think we could keep going deeper into this. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe
Hmm.
there's another question actually in this question.
Hmm. Yeah, because brought up a lot of it brought up a lot of stuff. Just as you were talking, the multidimensional aspects of the human vessel, and grappling with what it means to be human. Uh, and I think if we look at it, even what you were saying about we're in a human body, um, that more and more in my awareness, and I maybe because my interaction with Sammy too, that the human vessel is designed to be like an alchemizer of trauma, to heal so much of this, what has gone on in just this galaxy itself. That there have been galactic wars, there have been lots of trauma that's gone around, regardless of what dimension you think you're in a higher dimension, and that maybe it's better there, but I think we're finding that it's really not. Um, and so uh, the soul-based sensitivities, maybe well, right now it's feeling like you come in with soul-based sensitivities because of perhaps how much that soul has experienced in these realms, and we're bringing that with us in order to heal it, alchemically heal it, and we have to heal it through our genetics, the family lineage, the ancestral. And then when we start getting into ancestral, like we were saying, we're really talking about the entire humanity,
Yeah.
and the tribes of humanity,
Yes.
and you know, and each tribe has gone through their trauma,
Yes.
uh, and so we're at a point where it's very collective. I don't know that I feel like, are we really answering the question now?
I don't know.
Because it
I'm
is getting,
not.
yeah,
Well,
it's a
I.
it's a hard one to answer and say do X, Y, and Z to heal it,
Mhm.
because we're really on a healing journey,
Yeah.
just being human,
Hmm.
even going forward, you know.
Yeah. There's definitely uh, definitely something um, uh, when you said, we're here, the human body is an alchemizer. That's we're here to learn to balance the poles, the
Yeah,
to balance the separation. Because we can go one way this way, or we can go all the way this way, or we can like ding dong between the two. And it's like,
and that's what we've been doing. Yeah,
right? And so how do that's the alchemization and the rising of the Christ itself,
hmm,
the risen Christ, or the
yeah,
risen light. I know that's a challenging word for some people, um,
yeah.
because there's
It's
so,
not religious. Yeah,
yeah, and it's left, doing this kind of work or stepping into this vibration was really challenging to use certain words like God.
yes,
Uh, I even was and I think we've talked about this before. Like I've stayed away from talking to entities and goddesses and gods and all of these things because I was like, I don't know who I'm supposed to trust. I don't know.
yeah,
Just because you see them doesn't mean you should talk to them, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
and so we're kind of finally in this space of, oh, I get it now. Depending on, and you can see, I actually just lost my train of thought because it's taking me somewhere else. I actually feel Sammy coming in right now. So I don't know, like there's, so if we just take a moment and see because obviously you're her best translator. Um,
Hmm.
but if
Yeah.
she's coming in right here to say something in
Hmm.
relation to highly sensitive children.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, there is something. I mean, I was feeling a little just a few minutes ago about coming in as a sensitive soul, um, and the trauma of the galactic the galactic realms, which in this context right now, it feels like we're talking mainly about the Milky Way galaxy, uh, and not outside it, because there's been a lot of trauma just within the Milky Way galaxy. Um, so, like for Sam, she's she's saying um, if you want to use a vernacular of soul experiences, um, my eyes have seen a great deal of trauma that's gone on in the Milky Way galaxy itself, and a great deal of manipulation and mind melding technologies that are unnatural,
Mm.
um, not based on holistic thought patterns, um, a disconnection from the earliest source expressions, if you want to call it that, and the separation of beings are or have created a great deal of trauma. Um, and I'm actually here and embodying a great deal of this trauma, um, uh, and the violence in the way I respond to intensity um, is partly because of uh, the intensity of experiences of trauma. I've never seen it that way before, and so my body is learning to alchemically re retune itself in a sense, um, and my God nature, if you will, um, is. Hang on 1 second. There was a call coming in. Sorry, I just went to send it to voicemail. And so the and yet, this is interesting. And yet, um, we're not fully capable of alchemically healing this uh, just yet, because of the unwinding of our true DNA and genetic template that you might call junk DNA. And so um, I have the desire to heal that, but because there are certain DNA strands that have been offline, I can't fully integrate this trauma and heal it at the moment. And so the intensity of embodying and attempting to alchemically heal that trauma is very challenging at the moment. Um, and so part of my mission is to bring in these codes or keys. Uh, Really, when we're talking about codes, we're really talking about
Yeah.
keys um, that would unlock sequences of genetic mutations to eliminate that from the fabric of, I'm seeing like it as a weaving, like a fabric of weaving. So eliminate the errors, um, and then reintegrate. what we should be. Um, and so people are talking about upgrading DNA, upgrading the genetics so that we can continue to chemically heal a lot of this trauma. Um, and so some of us, meaning like the autistics that can see the beyond verbal, um, are carrying more of that than others, meaning like the galactic trauma, um, to bring it here. Uh, no, that's it for now. I don't know. Do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to add
Well,
to this?
thank you. Yeah. So I actually am seeing my youngest daughter come in here. She didn't speak for a long time. She was a delayed speech. Um, and she had a lot of trauma in her body. And
Mm,
me, uh, she's shown me, but I'm seeing right now the amount of trauma that she brought here and brought into the body to alchemize, which led to the delayed speech and
mm,
leads to these rages of screaming, of not behaving, of not listening,
mm.
different kinds of
Oh, yeah,
things.
yeah,
And you can see these. There's also a difference here between like a possession or a possession that's
yeah.
venting through a child and and a child that is alchemizing old trauma. Because Violet shows me that she has had um, tried to bring this into the body. It would be like Sam being in the body. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like in a little ball, and I don't believe she's holding near as much as Sam. She can't because she's in a body. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but she shows me it's like this ball of like fury almost. And it's like tangled, like a tangled web, like just like you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
fabric is tangled, like you put it in the
Yeah.
and it got all mushed up, right? So um, gently untangling that. And then you have to go through the genetic key codes or the missing key codes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's as you're gently unwinding that, but that is like akin to somebody's kundalini blasting open and them going nuts, which
Mm,
has
mm-hmm.
some of these like outbursts or some of these behavioral things that we see. Um, and
Yeah.
then which also includes food sensitivities.
Mm-hmm.
All these different kinds of things, being even more sensitive to sugar, being um, even if you didn't eat sugar, there's still like a almost like a predisposition for diabetes or pre-diabetic here. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something about these energies that like really well, they eat us away from the inside out, which is the rage, or which is that, I'm hitting, these kind of
Mm,
things.
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are we answering the question? It's getting like bigger. I don't know. We're going into this
I know.
whole new
I
space
know.
of,
Yeah. 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 Well, and so I think we're saying, well, it sounds like we're saying there's not a, it's hard to get a clear answer to say, do you would know by XYZ, you know. Um, and I think it just has to do with the times that we're in, that almost like when we were, let's say, more in that 3D box where it was easier to get a formula, let's say, or a methodology and say, this is what works, you know? Um, and now as we're expanding, everything is open. I mean, everything is just open, you know? All portals are open, whatever that means, you know?
right.
Uh, and and so we're in our expansion of our consciousness, we're able to see a great deal more, and it's infinite.
Hmm.
It's infinite, um, and how do we deal with this expanding awareness of eternity and infinity now, which are not exactly the same. Um, how do we deal with this now? Because just when you think you've got it, and this is how we're going to, I don't know, guide people or tell people that this is the methodology, then something else shifts, and it's like, oh, wait,
Right,
now there's this other piece.
right.
Um,
It's
yeah,
like
go ahead.
it's like you can't ever uh there's always another layer. I don't know why
Hmm.
while you were talking, something was like if you go into that infinite, God is infinite, and the openness and the creation, you can't ever in I don't want to say you can't ever know it, but it's like in this body it doesn't, it's well, it's never ending. So
Yeah,
there's always going to be something new, and I think grasping that concept, just knowing that um you're never fully done with anything. It's all,
yeah.
everything is ongoing. And this brings up, I talked to a friend of mine, and we talk about uh, um, well, now I just lost it again. And I'm seeing a spider. Spiders are so prevalent. And like the spider, I swear the spider comes in every time I sit in this space. It's a little
Oh,
giant spider. It's like it comes in to say hello. I don't know if it like lives around here or what's happening. So sorry for the sidetrack, but now I'm kind of going into the webbing of the spiders, but the webbing of the construct. And
hmm,
here's my thought again. A friend and I talk about what game do you want to play in? What part of whose creation? Because there's infinite creations. So
yeah,
what part are you going to pay attention to? And whose field is it? A minefield? What door? If all the doors are open and all the possibilities are open, where are you going? Did you create it? Did somebody else create it? Did God create it? Did God
hmm,
create it because he creates everything and we create through that? There's just, again, infinite possibilities. You don't have to focus just on the galactic or just
hmm,
on this one little field of this, which seems huge. What if
yeah,
twisted it around and you're in some paradise? Whatever. I believe the experience in this human body is like a utopia. I don't believe it's designed to be a utopia. And but the idea is to not be in trauma all of the time and seeking,
yeah,
and and if you run across something, then how do you perceive it? How are you going
hmm,
to transmit that? How is your heart going to digest that?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's uh, and well, my thought is, then how do we, deal with that? In a sense, it's part of it is knowing what you are ultimately. That's not this body, and even identifying as a soul. And what does that mean? Because I feel like, have we really known what the soul is? We talk about it, but that's a whole nother concept, and it's knowing that I feel like that this body is an emanation, a projection in a sense, and it's still hard to wrap your mind around in a sense of what is real and what is not real, and
What
who's
is real
creating.
and what is true? Difference,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 and also who's creating it? Am I creating it? Did we
Mhm.
co-create it? Why do we co-create this? But anyway, there's a whole nother different rabbit hole. But kind of walking that thin line, I guess, and For me, this is where the Trinity or the Christ consciousness uh, comes in, because that is ultimately the balance,
Mhm.
of the polarity of the two extremes, and being able to be more of that neutral witness and still live this physical life. Um, and I feel like even more so now than ever. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll be saying that again in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Again, another level of understanding. But um, that perhaps this is why we're trying to get to the origin story of what was the human created for. What was the human created for? Why is the human um, so quote special in the cosmos? Um, you know, and um, from Sammy and some of the work, and things that she's been transmitting for the last 4 or 5 years in particular, is that um, we are here to heal all distortions that was ever created from the point of inception of free will. I mean, I'm seeing it as that was the point when distortion really began. And again, I don't know, in a few years I could be saying something else, but because how could we create such, things that's been created on the earth that actually destroys life? We call it technology and advancement when there are byproducts that actually kills the planet, and kill ourselves at the same time. Um, and so we're here to alchemize that, and recognizing that we can only do that a little bit at a time, as a humanity, as your individual self, um, and that then future generations, as we integrate and get upgraded DNA or genetics,
Mhm.
then we will continue in this process. And at the same time, then we are becoming more quote of that light, the light body that we're really um, quote supposed to be. Uh, and in simultaneous time, it's like it's already done. It's
Yeah.
already done.
Yes.
Um, and so that's kind of what keeps me, engaged. And at the same time, we're then creating something new. We can't create based on the same 3D mindset and platforms. And just like what you're saying about is it ever going to be? It's not going to be ever going to be quote paradise. Um, and what's been coming in for me is like the Edenic codes.
Yeah.
So Eden, like as
Hmm.
close as we can get to it. That's like something to aspire for, in a sense, and that is the healing part of the healing process. But are we ever going to create quote Eden, you know, which is really quote, let's say, the creator's dream
Our mindset.
that we're manifesting? Um, so uh, there's a short answer to
Yeah,
give people who are listening some hope,
I
you
know.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. To go back to that original human, as like how long we lived, how long, but the body was bigger too, you know,
Yes.
like we were bigger. Um, I'm reminded when I go into like my Gaian body, like just how big we were, how where
Yeah.
consciousness was like in that space, and
Hmm.
the beautiful connection we had to Mother. While you've been talking, I feel like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not seeing this correctly, but Sam is showing me that there are through the autis a transmission that comes down into children like Violet, for instance, and I'm being shown Violet's
Mm.
specifically because that's who I'm communing with right now. They're
Right.
showing me that fabric that I see as a ball. Sam and Violet are showing me that that is like um, a piece of that is the distorted Milky Way, the fallen Milky Way, and that the
Oh.
children coming in have a different light body, a different light quotient, a different light body that is able
Mm-hmm.
to take that fallen system and alchemize it, which
Mm.
is why their bodies look different. So it's like
Mm.
it's a transmission down into some of the children that are coming in that are able to, which goes into why some children, and then if you don't have to, how much of the environmental hazards can you transmute out of your body as well? So
Yeah.
how much of that fallen system can you transmute? And for
Yeah.
some reason, the word
Transduce. Yeah.
transmigration is coming up, and I don't know why that word is coming through. Um,
Mm. Mm-hmm. Well,
um,
transmigration, it feels like it's um well, to me, it just feels like you're sending it back to source, or you
mm,
know,
mhm.
um, to be.
Some kind of communication that happens here, almost like little almost like, and then I see the spider again, almost like they're communicating through this web. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Oh, that would make sense.
right?
Yeah, that would make sense. That
Yeah.
would make sense. Um, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it represents the Milky Way. I mean, that certainly feels accurate. Um, and yeah, a lot of the new quote starseed children that I don't know what the right word is. I would say what they're doing, and they are, even if they're not quote diagnosed with autism, they are much more sensitive in a sense, and some will say that they're ETs, or something like that. I don't really like that word, because aren't we all ETs really? I mean,
But
we're
with a
from
more
the.
advanced soul expression of the soul, let's go back to that because there's of course so many ideas that we're wrapping around the soul. And there are a lot of people that don't have their soul. There are a lot of
Yeah,
automatons walking about.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you can't not see that. And some people are even choosing uh, to disassociate. There's an aspect of them that is actually separating from their own soul, which is called a possession. And you can
Oh.
see people start to get possessed. And
Mm.
it's interesting because you can see in their eyes, a soul has a specific light to it. Um,
Mm.
Even if you have dark colored eyes, it doesn't matter. There's a specific
Right.
vibration, light
Mm.
spectrum. And you can start to see a possession when you see one light. You see the light shining a little bit in one eye and not at all in the other. It's like
Oh.
it's like set. It's done. And how can you be sure of that is you can go back and like look at pictures of people or yourself. There could be a time where even you might have a partial possession. I,
Mm.
I think that we all
Mm-hmm.
get possessed in different ways. um,
Mm-hmm.
but and it's I think it's more important to anyway, so you can see possessions happening to people who had souls but are going to be soulless, or their soul
Mm-hmm.
will end because they have made a choice somehow to um,
Mm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
have that go. But these sensitive children and autists, they need a specific level of protection, um,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
because especially if you can't communicate uh,
Mm-hmm.
in traditional ways. It's not saying
Yeah.
communication doesn't happen, but when you can't communicate in a traditional way and saying, "Mom, I feel like this," uh,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can't even do that. But
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
you protect your child? And there's a thing where I don't know why this is coming up, but now we're talking about protection and projection, or anyway. Uh, how do you steward? your children, and they say, oh, it cuts off. You don't steward your child anymore past a certain age. And
Mm,
I disagree with that. Uh,
yeah.
because I think that if it comes from you, you have some kind of rights all the way through. That's only partially true as I say it out loud. But when your child is
Sensitive and
yeah,
disconnected in a sense. Yeah.
yeah, I'm seeing some, yeah, I'm hearing something, but I can't make out the words. Sounds like it's mostly in light language, and I'm trying
Mm,
to make sense of it. But
hmm
you get to, how do you bring your child? Do you bring your child? Oh, this is interesting because you and I talked about this before, like you separating bodies from Sam, right?
mm, hmm
How do you make
hmm
that separation? Because I always thought when to bring my child into my field, protect them in my field, right?
mm,
And
hmm
so, how do
hmm
they individuate after that? How do
Yeah.
they separate after that? Because otherwise, it's
Yeah.
oh, I don't know why I'm seeing it like that, but it's almost like
Mm,
again, I'm seeing spiders. I'm seeing like how the
mm,
mom like blow or how the wind blows and the baby spiders go everywhere. It's a lot of
uh-huh.
spiders today.
Uh-huh. And there's still like a webbing, in a sense, between you. And then there's also the imprint that they leave in the womb, from their own, and I guess in our body, in our blood, the DNA that they have, that they leave that imprint in our bodies, in our field as well. But yeah, but while you're on the earth, how do you kind of individuate so that they recognizing that they have their soul path, so that when we move on, you know, that they are still living their soul path, in a sense. And so there is this kind of enmeshment, you know, um, and maybe really, it comes down to even as a humanity, we're all enmeshed together. We're in this. I mean, we're a collective humanity, and we're co-creating a reality together. So there is a level of what is enmeshed together in a sense, but enough to know that your individuated body, though, is a different expression. We have to still recognize, and to me, we get that from our natal chart,
Yeah.
our astrological natal chart, um, because that's your imprint, that's your DNA, the activation of our genetics, and why we look different, and why we each have different skills and talents and things.
Mhm.
Um, so it takes me, it kind of takes me to that. But about the webbing and the networking, it's interesting because what I have seen with particularly the new kids born after like 2017, and then really after 2020, is that they're coming through different galaxies. I
Yeah.
mean, they're literally coming through these galaxies that are far, far out from our perspective, outside the Milky Way. And so they're weaving in their way of coming through, and who knows how many, I don't know, millions of years it took them to get to this point from that limited perspective. But, they're literally weaving this web, you know, um, and is that what was meant by the transmigration? So that when they alchemize it, they're literally, um, because it's more physical than ever.
Yeah.
It's not just something that's like in the ethers
Yeah.
anymore. It has to come down to the physical
It does.
because it wasn't enough to
Hmm.
just say, all
Hmm.
right, we'll send some great masters and we'll teach people.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's like
then it gets distorted.
yeah, it has to be in the body to alchemize, and there's a level of stillness that is created here. The I was hearing while you were talking, protect the souls of the children. And in
Yeah.
terms of the other galaxies opening up, or the other outside of the Milky Way galaxy, I was seeing it's because well, they're different, right? But also because the accelerated, they have these acceleration codes,
Mm-hmm.
something
Yeah.
that can help alchemize quicker. And
Yeah.
so being in there uh, uh, with more of them coming in like this, it creates more of an access, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something about the acceleration codes. But
Mm-hmm.
also because it's a rare opportunity to be part of an ascension cycle where
Mm-hmm.
anything, like an entire uh, cosmos is shifting up into a new octave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a pretty unique situation. And I think that also before they couldn't actually get in. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah, that too. Because
yeah,
it was like closed off and there was maybe like one or two access points, you
yeah,
know?
one or yeah. And so it'd get backed up, right? And then when you got in, you couldn't get out. Well, now,
Mm-hmm.
with all these ancient gates opening up and these things shifting, it's like
Mm-hmm.
now it's like you can breathe. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I feel like
Yeah.
I can breathe. Um,
Yeah.
and finding that cosmic breath again is,
Mm-hmm.
for those of us that remember, it's like,
Mm.
oh my gosh. And then you remember that whole thing of like the face masks and the I can't breathe, and getting that into the population of
Yeah.
like wanting that to be the thing again. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I'm breathing, all right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's mother's cosmic breath, and it's like mother and father breathing together. There's this beautiful
Yeah.
emanation.
Yeah. And yeah, and we needed both. Yeah.
Yeah,
Needed both. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that's the crazy part, you know. But yeah, I know there were so many different points. Um, uh, so yeah, there was a question that I felt like was coming from, I don't know, maybe somebody who's potentially going to listen. Like, how do you know that you have one of these children that is trying to alchemize, some of these things? And yeah, I mean, one, they may be expressing more rage, like you said, these explosive behaviors that you feel like come out of nowhere. Um, and then um, like they can't be fit into a box
defiance.
anymore.
Yeah, the word I'm hearing is defiance, but it's not defiance. That
Yeah,
doesn't work for me.
yeah, especially in the education system,
Yes.
and so it's like um, we have to, when we're talking about protecting our children, we have to protect our children from um, forcing them into a system that's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead. There's no life in it anymore, you know? And the more you try to force them into a box
Mm.
that really doesn't exist anymore, and you're only making it try to continue to exist, you know, that you're going to get more defiant because it is such a powerful urge in the body, in their physical body, that no, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and you're trying to make me into something that I'm not here to be,
Yeah.
you know? And because again, each generation we're going to do more and more of this. And so they are the future, they are the future uh, uh, for to continue on this process. And even in 10, 15, 20 years, we have no idea what kind of professions, sciences, mathematics will exist, because we're trying to move forward. We can't be teaching the same stuff. And that is one of the hardest things right now, especially probably sending your kids to school, and you're like, okay, these textbooks are really outdated,
It's
and you're
challenging.
still trying to teach it. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
very challenging. It's not going to make sense in their body. While you're talking, what I'm seeing is that in order to transmute, a child needs to jump. Like something that could be causing a distortion or a trauma in the child means they might want to jump off of the couch. They might want to
Mm,
use their big muscles, right? The glutes, the
mm,
quads, the hand,
yeah,
like even something like that action can actually transmute a planetary trauma, which I'm hearing to me, that sounds nuts, but I'm being shown that no, because it's about learning how to alchemize something in the body. Trauma comes through the,
yeah,
I know that
yeah,
as good as anybody, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so how they move through that, sitting still in a space, they
For
should
6 hours.
smelling, touching, feeling,
Yeah, yeah,
count as you will.
yeah,
Not all kids learn sitting down either. Some need to be moved
yeah, yeah.
constantly,
So need to be,
uh,
yeah, moving
or
constantly. Yeah,
or laying
yeah,
down. Some do better reading. I'm seeing like just moving so much, reading one page at a time, setting it down, go get a snack, come do your thing. So
yeah,
how
yeah. I'm
how
like that now.
yes,
I read a paragraph. I'm like, wow.
I know.
And then I have to put it down. Yeah,
Well, I've always been like that. I have to read and then reread it again and go.
yeah, yeah.
But
You get stuck
yeah,
on one line. You're like, wow.
it's
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
challenging for the people coming into the education system as well. It's
Hmm.
all these being all this it's all filtering out and changing. And
Hmm.
I
While you're talking about, yeah, go ahead. Keep
no
going.
go ahead, no go.
Yeah. Well, what you're talking about the movement,
Mhm,
and we know the like the fascia that holds the trauma, and
mhm.
and all these things, and we're trying to do fascia releases and moving. And one thing that drove me crazy when my youngest son was in school was that, okay, elementary school, there's all these play structures, there's movement. You get to middle school, and they're like the play structures are gone.
Yeah,
There's no play structures. There's no swings. There's no big hanging things. And they get 30 minutes for lunch. I was
yeah.
like, 30 minutes? 30 minutes for lunch, starting when they're like, in seventh grade.
Well, you could wait in line for 30 minutes.
And they won't eat. So, I had to send my son with snacks because I didn't eat lunch because the line was too long. And by the time I got there, it was over,
Yeah,
So it's either, some of them would play softball and stuff, or wiffle ball or basketball and stuff. But that's your half hour. That's your half hour to run around.
mm,
Uh, and by the time you're in high school, even, they're really gone. There's no summer programs after they're 15, you
mhm.
know, and it's like we know that their bodies are changing, right? So their feet, you look at the boys and like their feet can be like this big and they're still like this tall, and they're growing unevenly. Their brains are changing, and that's when they freaking need all this vestibular movement and things. And talk about jumping, right? They need to alchemize. If they're the alchemizers, they need to release that from their bodies,
Yes. And
you
this,
know?
yes. And this is where they get you. This is where they get humanity because they turn that into this is when they over sexualize children. They
Yes.
start that to try, and then this is where they siphon all that energy that is supposed to be alchemized. They start in with pornography, they start in with specific language and all
Yeah.
this crazy stuff,
Well,
which is
now they started with young little children, I
oh,
think.
it's 100% because they're grooming them, they're attempting
Yeah.
to groom because the potential for true evolution is real. And,
Yeah.
they know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And they're doing everything they can to stop that. And so, like, yeah, how do you know? Well, if they're really defying you, and I say this for the autistic parents of autistics too, because right now after the telepathy tapes, all this letterboard and everything is big. It's a big thing, and you know what? If your child takes to that, it's great. You know, but if they don't, and you're still trying to force them, you have to pause and ask, maybe this is not the right time.
yeah.
Maybe there's something else going on with them that needs to be acknowledged first. I mean, Sammy did it, and she showed me that she's very intelligent. Will she go back to it? I have no idea. Now, if she were to want to go back to it, then I would follow that lead. But if she doesn't, because she's processing a lot faster than what she could even get out in words,
Yeah.
and then our words are not even, can't even convey some of these really
Hmm.
high concepts that we have no words for yet,
Yeah.
you know? And so,
It's like
forcing any kid, yeah,
when I look at Sam,
go ahead.
it's like there's this recalibration of the biocomputer in the human,
Yeah,
of the in the biosensitivities. It's of the intricate pieces between the spirit and the body. So it's like
yeah,
God mind body consciousness, right? And how these little intricate light filaments are able to weave or come online. There's a biocircuitry here in the,
yeah,
you could call it soul science. I don't know what to call it, but there's something here
yeah.
of the evolution of that. And I actually believe that we'll be in the space of, we're not even using the soul as a vehicle anymore. It's going to just be, spirit. So, which is,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
it, I see the soul as such a slippery little bugger, right? Like it wants to feel all
yeah.
it feels. The spirit says, "Hey, here's and then we go out. This is all the multiple timelines. These are all soul expressions, personalities that
Mm-hmm,
get
mm-hmm,
filtered out. And it's like, which one
mm-hmm,
of my squirrely little selves is doing some kind of nonsense that, eh, is causing this blockage, right?
mm-hmm.
I think which one of you little buggers is saying, giving up, right? So
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know. I mean, soul, spirit. I mean, there's a lot to re or to understand.
mhm,
Let's say
yeah,
maybe we had it wrong. That's what, as we're finding, like a lot of these concepts, we have to kind of unwind what in the world, what in the freak that we're talking about, and then
yeah,
we're using the same language, and so other people interpret it totally differently, and you're like, well, that's not what I said, but that's how he took it. You're like, I don't know.
yeah.
you
Because
know?
when you're in different octaves, when you're in different octaves, you can't hear frequencies.
Yeah,
And this is where the interpretation or misinterpretation comes in, because
yeah.
you just cannot. There's an evolution that you just weren't evolved into the space of being able. And I'm not saying you can't be evolved. I'm saying you're just not in the octave to hear what was
Yeah,
actually said. There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. It just is a fact.
yeah,
It's a
yeah. I
fact.
agree with that. Yeah, because yeah, we're trying to talk about multidimensional, um and whatever that word even means. Right now, I'm like, what does that mean? What did you just say? I have no idea. Um, but
We're
you
buzzing at
know,
different rates, Susan. Yes.
we're buzzing a lot of different things. Um, but as you were talking about biocomputer, um, and Sammy, one of the things that's coming in that's related to that is our crown.
Yeah.
Um, and we mentioned a bit ago about being bigger, and this whole Denisovan thing. I don't know, if you, the Denisovans who were they discovered their bones in Urgaki, Siberia, I think, like, and they date them as being like 75,000 years ago, but the bones that they found, they indicated that they were much taller, like 10 feet tall from the bones that they found. But what Sammy had showed me sometime last year, um, and it's Andrew Collins, for those of you who have followed our work in Patreon, or who might want to know about it, a little bit more about it. I stumbled on this. Well, I shouldn't say stumbled, but I was led to this information from Andrew Collins, who talks about the Denisovans in the Cygnus Keys or something like that. It's a book that he put out. But anyway, and they mentions towards the end, the Denisovan bones, and that they're related to, they seem to have a correlation with autism in the sense that they discovered 8 genes from the Denisovans. Um, and I don't know the whole story about, I can't quite get the full story about how they discovered that, but I think it was some German geneticist that discovered that when these particular 8 genes are mutated, they're associated with autism. They seem to be associated with autism. But anyway, um, what Sammy had said was that the Denisovans were actually seeded to correct the crown. So our crown chakra has been going through degradation, let's say, for tens of thousands of years, you know. And the crown is related to, the crown functioning is related to these genes. Uh, and and so it is like, right now I'm feeling like on the top of my head, the crown is like a biocomputer as well, in the sense uh, that it reads the stars. You know, we're supposed to be able to read the stars, the star systems, and we think that only the shamans, were quote able to do such a thing, but it's supposed to be, let's say, uh, will become an innate ability again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's from the stars that will give us the information about our evolution, the phases that we're in, the new children that are coming in, how to prepare for the new children. We should know these things, and it is related to, directly related is what I'm getting to, these particular genes. And the question that's been coming up a lot is, do they have the correct genes?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
is that the correct ones?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess I looked it up on ChatGPT or one of those AI, I think it was Claude or whatever. Um, they they spit out like the 8 genes that it was, that when they're mutated, that they're talking about. Um, but what was interesting is that in those 8 genes, like depending on the mutation, like you could have one of them that was like, a couple of them were like gut problems, gut issues.
Oh yeah.
Another one was like, or a couple of them was, like neurological scrambling. So to me, that answers like, why are they more sensitive
Mm-hmm.
to these vaccines,
Yep. And
you know,
yeah,
and gut issues?
yeah. Well, we have celiac, which is it's a severe gut issue.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought, and at the time, I've told this story before, so I'll keep it quick. But didn't I don't vaccinate. I vaccinated my first child up until age 2, and then I didn't vaccinate after that once I started studying. But she had symptoms. She had literally every symptom of autism.
Mm,
I not my my first unvaccinated child had every symptom of autism, and
and you didn't vaccinate,
I
yeah.
was like, wow, there goes my vaccine theory, right? I guess
Mm-hmm,
that doesn't have anything to do with anything. And it turns out she had celiac.
mm,
So no wheat, no gluten, no rye, no barley, no oats.
mm.
Is
Yeah,
it
that's
causes
the hard way to live.
and it
And this,
causes the neurological dysfunction in the gut, right?
uh-huh, uh-huh.
So when
Yeah, because they're related. Yeah.
yeah. So, this was 24 years ago. We started figuring these kinds of things out of like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm,
what's what is this?
mm-hmm,
And while you're talking about this, I'm actually hearing that this is how we traveled. And so why the ancient gates are opening up, why
mm,
why we would see the stars in such a way is because
mm-hmm.
we were galactic. There's like a something about a galactic nomad, but it would be like to be able to travel by the stars. So you would be able
Yeah.
to go galactic travel. Is that what it's?
Mm-hmm,
I don't know, but also be able to see like how and where to travel, how and where to live. It's
mm-hmm.
like there was no settlement. So it's like when you started settling, something here happens too. And that
Mm-hmm.
tends to degrade the genetic expression.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something about that too, which brings us all the way down then to the tribes and how they settled in different areas and how these different things happen.
Oh, that's right.
So now
That's
I'm
right.
seeing kind of like how there are some of us that have I think we all have potential to express in all of the healing of the tribes, but there's something here where some are really heavy in another one, or maybe come in a body where just one particular tribe expression, it's like maybe, I don't know, I don't really know exactly how I'm saying it, but and this goes into a different kind of templating, original human templating, who
Yeah.
was stamped with what, and who created this templating to begin with. If we
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to move in such a way and know the cosmos and the galaxies and um,
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, boy, yeah, there's so much there that I can go in five different directions. So let's
And,
see.
and we're
What
we're
comes?
we're at we're pushing over time here, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
I
don't
know.
know.
Maybe we
And
should.
just 1444 is what it just said. So
Oh,
yes,
okay.
now, but
Okay.
um,
Okay.
do you want?
Yeah. Well,
I think we can put a
this is how
bookmark
we
on
wind
it.
down.
Yeah, how do we
Yeah.
write it down? Do you want
Yeah.
to some light language just to kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah.
seal the
Yeah.
information and the crystal
Mm-hmm.
information? And
Mm-hmm. Crystallize the information.
um,
Um, yeah. Let's see what kind of, yeah, what do we need to, key code transmissions. Okay. It's gonna come. Uh, kiki ko toto sakata. Ta ta ti ti ta sa. Ka ka kiki to toto sakata kata. Tiki tika to to to. To to tika 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 to. Ta tika tika to tika tika to. Ti 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 to to ta 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 to 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 ta. Tika tika to tika to ta. Tika to 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 to. Ah ah ah. Ah, la, ah, i, o, ta, ko, ta, ka, o, o, ah, shikiti, tuku, na, 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 te, 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 te. I, o, deep inhale and exhale. And if you want to follow up,
Ikiata unti ti 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 tuanta kanti ti 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 antang chin ti kandi antai kin chin ti anta tu tu ti ha hi hi ka iki inti ka am tu 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 ti antai ti ki inchi chi antau tu hai ento inti ka anna ha chin ti ku un ti anta ong ku ku anta Inti an taun chi an taun kun chi inti ki ni an na ha chu kun chi an ta inti ka ha ha in chi an ka un chi an taun ku kun tu ha ni na ha mo ti ku an ta na hi hi an taun mo na in chi an ta ni ko ni kan chi an ta in and out breath.
and I was just cleaning off. I felt like I just need to dust off any lower consciousness stuff from my own field,
Mm.
that I don't, that I don't want to take forward. Yeah, because we had a very an intense conversation. I don't know, the energy was like wow. Um, and settling into my sacrum. Mm,
Yeah, there's some stuff in the intestines for some people that might come up, some intestinal flushing that happens. that could, especially if we're talking about sensitivities, sensitive children.
Mm-hmm.
This goes into the small intestine, into the large intestine, and may very well go up into the digestive system in general. But be some lower bowel movements, this kind of thing. So allow that
Mm-hmm.
to come out. Sometimes during even menses, you could get an intense odor or clotting, this kind of thing. And this is just old stuff flushing out. So,
That's a good point to bring that up for people. But yeah, yeah, a lot of good conversation about our children. I think that will be
yeah,
relevant
I'm seeing
for a
like
lot
the
of
children
people.
of the world and kind of going through this space of, these conversations may very well be heightened as more of this consciousness comes in and is shared. Like I feel like I'm seeing hands of children across the worlds, across the galaxies, hand in hand in hand, and the evolution of the heart as the spirit becomes.
Hmm.
Right.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Whew.
Thank you. Much love to everybody.
Yes.